And welcome to Around the Ozark Spotlight. Each week, we uncover the stories behind the people who live and work in Southwest Missouri. Those individuals with entrepreneurial spirit who work to better the lives of others or simply put pen to paper to write books about the stories and the people and the history of the Ozarks. I'm your host, Scott Meier. Today, we're going to explore the world of downtown development here in Springfield with Rusty Worley. Rusty is the executive director of the Downtown Springfield Association. Welcome, Rusty. Can you hear me, Rusty?
Thanks for having me,
I can't.
Scott.
Oh, there you are. Okay, I couldn't hear you for a
I
minute.
can. The internet connection's been cutting in and out a little bit.
Well, this is one of those things that, thanks to COVID, like everything, we changed up, made it easier doing it digitally. So hopefully, as we go forward, we'll be fine here. You've been doing this job for quite a while, Rusty, as the executive director of Downtown Springfield Association. How long has that been?
I started in this role in 2005, so I'm in my 19th year.
And before that?
I was the vice president for administration at Drury University. I was there for 12 years, the last 5 as the vice president for administration, and served my alma mater in that capacity. But it really kind of paved the way for coming here with coordinating a lot of the business aspects of a campus. A lot of that carried over very well to downtown.
Oh, absolutely. It sounds like a great background. You and I have known each other now for about 8 years. And I think I was telling somebody else earlier today, in those 8 years, I've noticed some huge changes in Springfield. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah. For those of us who are involved in the day to day, sometimes we focus on what's yet to come, but it's always good for us to hear from students and others who move away and then come back and see the changes. And there are a number of changes. For many years, the HERS building was looming over us as a boarded building, and getting that active was a huge milestone. We're excited that we've had Hotel Vandervoort and its expansion. We've had student housing additions in the last few years. So, there's been a lot of momentum. There's still plenty of job security projects that need to be done, storefronts to fill. But whenever you look back, we have made a good deal of progress.
It's changed quite a bit. I know you're born and raised in this area, isn't that fair?
Well, I was born in Omaha, but raised in Stratford, and my whole life of what I can remember has been in this area.
I didn't know you were a Husker. I love it when we get a chance to talk, Rusty, because you always find out new things about people. So originally from Nebraska, but grew up in Stratford, and you've seen changes. I'm sure people talk all the time about Sunshine, East and West Sunshine. That south of East and West Sunshine 25 years ago, there was virtually nothing there, and you look at it today, and now we're wondering when Ozark and Nixa will actually be joined with Springfield.
Yeah, absolutely. And that definition of where South Springfield is, or where North and South continues to move slightly to the south through the years. But we're excited about things like Grand Avenue Parkway that will better connect Bass Pro to downtown. The Forward SGF plan calls for ungapping the map and having additional greenway trails where you can hop on a trail here, stay at Hotel Vandervoort, one of our hotels, and it won't be that long before you can take a bike ride all the way out to Wilson's Creek. There'll be other bike connections that hopefully will connect down into our neighbors in Northwest Arkansas. There's just a lot of good things happening in the area.
What do you see as far as getting additional commerce downtown? And by commerce, I mean more businesses that have employees, many, many more employees, which obviously would help the base of the retail commerce downtown. But is there something in the plans or anything in the works you can talk about as far as maybe some new things that are coming to downtown in terms of work related?
Yeah, well, we're very excited about the Moxie Hotel coming. Tim O'Reilly investing substantially into the historic building at South and Pershing. That will be opening up in the next few weeks.
Hmm.
That is a really exciting project that is going to have a speakeasy in the lower level. It's going to have a great rooftop deck, and I think it will serve to complement and run alongside the great things we have at Hotel Vandervoort and the True Hotel, University Plaza. Getting more guests downtown is a good thing. Um, this is not an easy time, especially in the area of retail. There's a lot
Hmm.
of competition with online sales, but I think we still have low barriers to entry, and we have the opportunity through our community events and the other support programs that we have, that small businesses can come into an environment like this, be walkable, where people can come to dinner and have a lot of cross traffic.
Hmm.
And that's going to be where I think we continue to really highlight those unique businesses. They're uniquely Springfield and a point of pride. I think, 5 Pound Apparel is a great example. They have really embraced a lot of the Springfield flag logos, and it's a great shop to get um, merchandise from Springfield. We also
Sure.
have seen groups, collective groups, from the art galleries, where we've had formed art gallery come in. They have over 40 artists now in that space,
Hmm.
where it's not just one or two business owners, but they're interacting with a wide variety. And so that collaborative, collective model, I think, also has a lot of merit. We've been exploring some variations on that. Food halls are a big piece right now, all
Hmm.
across the country. And we are the home of 60 restaurants downtown. And so we've been looking at how can we, in essence, look at potential incubators similar to the E-Factory, but for the
Sure.
restaurant dining sector, to help give those entrepreneurs a running start.
Oh, absolutely. My guest today on Around the Ozark Spotlight, you're hearing and seeing Rusty Worley, who's the executive director of the Downtown Springfield Association. You mentioned 60 eateries in the downtown area. Let's take a step back, and can you draw verbally, if you will, the lines that would be considered downtown Springfield? What are the streets that actually encompass what you're responsible for as far as downtown?
Well, there's a few definitions of that. The Downtown Community Improvement District, which we work alongside, it's a separate legal entity, but its boundaries are Chestnut Expressway in the north, Kimbrough to the east, uh, um, Elm Street to the south, and then Mother's Brewery or Grant Avenue to the west.
Okay.
Our organization is a little more fluid. We don't have hard boundaries, similar to a chamber of commerce. And so I think most people would extend that boundary at least out to national,
Mhm.
to pick up to St. Louis Cardinals and historic Walnut Street. And then if you're a little farther away from one of the surrounding communities, some would refer to downtown Springfield all the way to Commercial Street. And we certainly do some things alongside Commercial Street, but our most of our day to day is right in the core of the around the square.
Sure. Now, the square has had its ups and downs, and here's your chance to tell the folks about the ups, because everybody likes to talk about downs. What are some of the ups about the square that you think make it more inviting today than maybe 5 or 10 years ago for families to enjoy and have things to do in downtown Springfield?
Well, the variety of restaurants around it. We're getting ready. We have the Big Time Arcade that's getting ready to open on Park Central East. And we've got great restaurants near there, great
Hmm.
coffee shops, Coffee Ethic. We have some breakfast cafes like Rise that are really strong. And then in the evening hours, you've got Golden Girl, and then the theater scene. And
Hmm.
Springfield Little Theater keeps cranking out great productions. We're excited about what they're offering, just coming off of In the Heights.
Sure.
And then the Gilloys just has come out of the pandemic very strong and is doing good programming. We're looking to offer more grassroots programming in the coming year. We did a pilot of having pickleball in the square in
Hmm.
October, and we found that we created a couple of courts there in the square, and that went very, very well.
Sure.
We want to invite as many community groups as possible to look at having the square as the venue for their events. We're working with one of the radio stations, with Midwest Family, about having an event in the fall that we're excited about. So getting more grassroots programming, it will go a long way. We're also working to look to develop the Newberry building and get some additional active uses on the perimeter of the square. That's something we lack right now. We have a lot of office tenants and state office workers that may be there from 8 to 5, but we don't have active storefronts as many as we need nights and weekends.
Sure.
And so that's something we really want to prioritize.
Do you get a sense, Rusty, that there is more development from the standpoint of, and I'll target it even 55 plus, ages 55 plus, where many people that are retiring don't want a house necessarily. They would rather have a loft or a condominium, but something that allows them to do that stroll at night, to do a stroll around a city center and grab a coffee or grab a glass of wine or what have you. Do you see more of that development happening? And if so, is there anything that folks can do to assist and make that even a more special opportunity?
Well, we have some good examples of that. Wheeler's Lofts in particular has a great group of empty nesters who are there, but that's only 12 lofts. And so that has a lot of demand for that. The Hers building has a mix of different demographics in it, but it certainly has some of that professional empty nester piece, 400 Place. So we have some good examples, but I think given the maturing demographic that we have, that I'm closer and closer to representing, that there are more opportunities to expand that in Springfield.
Sure.
We see some great examples on the south side of town on development that's catered toward active adults. I think with the brewery district that we have and the just the First Friday Art Walk scene, there's a lot of opportunities. You look at the area around the Moxie Cinema, Springfield Brew Co., Mother's Brewery, that west end of downtown really sets up well for some additional active senior housing.
Let me put you on the spot for just a minute, and certainly not going to ask anything political because that's not what the show's about. But do you feel that the downtown is safer today than maybe it was 5 or 10 years ago? Or is that simply a perception?
I do. As somebody who lives and works downtown, I'm here all the time. And I've been here now, again, for quite a while. So I remember 10, 15 years ago, we would have larger groups of people that were more intimidating. And one of the things that we're looking forward to most is City Council approved $3 million of ARPA funds for a purpose-driven day shelter. And when that gets implemented, that will provide another good opportunity for folks to go get resources, have someplace meaningful to go during the day to connect them with either housing or day work opportunities. And so that is going to be a game changer whenever that we have that get operational. Between that and then the economic development of some of these spaces and activating some of these spaces on the perimeter of the square, those will be the big items to really move the needle on improving that square. But, as someone who has several major events, it's a great space, and everyone, it's a place where Springfield comes together.
Okay. Is there a need for grocery downtown? I know there used to be one, and that went away a few years back. Is there anything that you're seeing forthcoming for maybe access for groceries for folks that want that opportunity to live in a downtown setting?
Absolutely. We loved having the bistro market downtown. And I think there is a real need for something similar to that that's walkable. We have options nearby at Sunshine and at National St. Louis and over on Grand Street. But folks want something that's walkable, that they, from their loft, can walk down, get their produce, get things for the next night or two, and then come back and fix their dinner. I think there's certainly room for a bodega or something that's a small to medium size that has fresh produce and the essentials of what urban lofters will need.
We'll be back in a moment with my special guest, Rusty Worley. You're listening to Around the Ozarks Spotlight, and I'm your host, Scott Meier. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, everybody, it's Ethan and Sarah Forhetz from your favorite podcast, Around the Ozarks in 5. I'm sure you've been wondering, how can I get even more amazing stories, events, and witty banter to start my day?
Well, look no further. Here we are. Sign up for our daily newsletter. You'll have what's going on around the Ozarks right at your fingertips each weekday morning.
Yeah, just go to aroundtheozarks.com, click on the newsletter tab to sign up.
Thanks for listening to Around the Ozarks in 5. We hope to see you in your inbox soon.
Welcome back to the second half of today's Around the Ozarks Spotlight. I'm here with my special guest, and I say special because I think Rusty works his tail off to make the downtown work better. But it's Rusty Worley, who's the executive director of Downtown Springfield Association. You're coming up on 20 years in that position?
I am. Again, I'm in my 19th year, so it's coming fast.
Right. And in those 20 years, obviously, there's been a lot of changes. I'd love to hear from you, Rusty, if you took out a pen and paper and said, okay, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, this is what I think the downtown's going to look like. What does that look like?
Well, one of the things I would really love to see is that we've had College Station here now for the last 15 years, but reimagining that and having it serve as our own version of a power and light district where it's an entertainment district at a Springfield scale. I think there's a lot of potential for that in that area. I think we're going to be working on injecting some new life into the south side of the square between the Newberry building and the south side of the square. And so there's going to be some exciting things that we have the opportunity to reshape that and to get some more activation on the perimeter. I think we want to build on the resources, the great things that Hotel Vandervoort and Tim O'Reilly have done. I think also the city taking a leadership role with Hammons Field and securing the Cardinals being here the next 15 years really has provided a jump start to activating Jordan Valley Park for that to serve as the central park that was originally envisioned in Vision 2020,
Sure.
and stretching all that activity from Hammons Field to Jordan Valley Park, the Ice Park, through the Idea Commons, Renew Jordan Creek. I think that in the next 5 to 10 years, it will be transformational on what can happen there. Missouri State's done a great job with the Idea Commons, and this will provide another kind of injection of energy and investment into that area.
Well, Springfield's not alone. There's a lot of metro areas that have the same issues where people may come to the downtown area, see a show, or come downtown to see a ball game in our case, or even, to spend an afternoon ice skating or what have you. And then they head back to the suburbs. They get back in the car and off they go. That's really a challenge for everybody. But I will tell you one thing that we saw not long ago. We were meeting with some friends at the Vandervoort up on the V up in the bar up above, and other than overlooking the city, which really it's quite beautiful up there, especially in the early evening. There was a group of young women. They were doing a bachelorette party, and it was very reminiscent of what you see these days now in Nashville. Now, I'm not suggesting that Springfield is Nashville, but I'll tell you what, 30 years ago, I used to do a lot of business in Nashville, and it looked a lot like Springfield.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see the evolution of nightlife. When I first started in this role in 2005, you saw much bigger venues and lots of college kids coming down. And that has really morphed to smaller venues like Scotch and Soda or Golden Girl Rum Club. And so there have been some trends changing on that. But we've also had a lot more loft development and student housing. I think one of the things that could have an impact on what you're talking about is Restore SGF. It's trying to strengthen the urban neighborhoods around our entertainment districts, whether it's downtown, looking at the area around Commercial Street. There's neighborhoods Woodland Heights, Grant Beach, Fast Night, West Central, that are poised to get new investment. And the trick is to renovate those properties that are 100 years old to get more of today's amenities in there, so they're attractive to young professionals and young families, and so they have a true alternative and don't have to go to the suburbs for the amenities that they want.
Well, to that point, I've actually started to see some teardowns and rebuilds, and that's something that you see typically in a turnover area. It's not so much just buying the housing that's there, but getting the people, and in this case, probably younger professionals that have that kind of money, who can afford to buy a property, tear it down, and then build something new, which actually pressures the rest of that street, if you will, into saying, well, maybe we should be doing something.
Yeah, we've seen already several examples along the Grand Avenue Parkway. When you're looking south of Grand, back towards the Fast Night Park area, you're going to see a major change in that in the next 24 months. There's going to be a lot more residents who are living in that area. And then I think you're going to see a little smaller scale, more single family development north of Grand back towards downtown. And then the area around Campbell School, I think there's going to be some missing middle opportunities where some new housing could go into some of those spaces that Springfield really is missing. And so, yeah, I think there's all kinds of opportunities, and we're seeing the first fruits of that, even though we're still in the early stages of that redevelopment.
Do you see at some point, if you had the magic wand, that a convention center would find its way downtown? Or is that a pipe dream?
No, I think there's a handful of days a year, and we're coming up on one. Comic-Con will be at the Expo Center. That's a quirky, fun event, but that weekend, when you have Comic-Con and the Shriners are having the circus, you see what that corridor could be when it's activated. We need to be having the Expo Center and University Plaza functioning like that multiple times a month, not multiple times a year.
Right.
But that's where we have a lot of opportunity costs from not having an active convention center. And so, yes, I think there's a lot of potential for that. And there's several folks who are looking at that St. Louis corridor. And I think there's a great deal of potential.
Rusty, who needs to be those people? Does it need to be private investment, or is that a city investment tied to the CVB taxing? What drives that sort of thing to get actually done?
Yeah, it takes the vision and the energy of developers, private developers, to bring the projects to the table that people are excited about. But I think many times it's a partnership where there are gaps that, in order to make that happen, or in order to jumpstart that, there needs to be a public sector investment in that. And I think there's opportunities to do that if there's the right package that's provided for folks.
Well, you see families like the O'Reillys that have done so many things, and quite frankly, to their credit, on every corner of the city. I mean, they're not just on the east side or the west side. They're all over the place, and have brought some great development. But is there any chance that the O'Reillys might headline something like that, or partner up with some other families that have history in this area, that to be able to really get this thing going? I think once it gets started, I think I don't know why we have to go 40 minutes to Branson to see that stuff when we could actually have it right here in Springfield.
Absolutely. I think there are several families who have been generous and wanted to double down and invest in their hometown. Springfield's fortunate to have families who want to see. We certainly, the McQuarries have forever changed downtown. Tim O'Reilly is doing great things not only here, but seeing the changes that he's instigated at Kearney and Glenstone are just amazing.
Yeah.
And we have others who have made those type of investments. So yes, I think creating points of pride for our community is a legacy that we can leave. And we've made a lot of headway, but there's some opportunities that we're going to have a window in the next decade, and Forward SGF, I think, helps shine a spotlight on those.
My guest today and Around the Ozarks Spotlight, you're listening to Rusty Worley. Rusty, the executive director of Springfield's Downtown Association. Parking. How are we doing on parking? You happy with it? You want to see more of it? Do you want to change it?
The city instituted its most recent parking study and finalized that last fall. There hadn't been one done for 20 years. And basically what that said is there's quite a bit of parking downtown. And for those of us who live and work down here, we know where that parking is. We know where to park and where not to park, so you don't get towed or have a bad night. But we need to do a better job of wayfinding and directing people to those. We need to make sure that we're investing in our parking facilities so that everybody feels safe using those. And that's through lighting, it's through painting. And then there are some areas that still need some additional capacity. You look at the southeast quadrant of downtown around Little Theater, and that's an area that is very tight. Thankfully, we have Downtown Church and other groups who help that. But we also see that around Holdfast Brewery, that corridor of Trafficway and Kimbrough has a limited amount of parking. So some of that is coordinating the parking that is there in a better way. I think as we get more guests coming downtown, we have the oddity of two one-way streets in Campbell and Jefferson that makes things more confusing than they need to be. And when we have parents come in from out of town or others, helping them navigate their way through downtown that isn't as frustrating and confusing would help a lot.
Is that under your perusal, or is that something you have to work on with City Council and MDOT?
Yeah, there's a lot of partners in that. The city certainly is the main player in that because they direct the public works, the traffic there, the community improvement district downtown. We're involved simply more from the marketing side, and we hear from our patrons and business owners. And we just want to have it be as positive an experience as possible. And so I think many of the recommendations that were in the parking study for investing in our existing parking garages and wayfinding, those are low-hanging fruit that we ought to be implementing as quickly as possible.
So what's coming up downtown? Let's take the last 2 minutes we've got left in today's program and talk about all the good things that are happening soon.
Yeah, well, we'll have the Super Bowl parties coming up, and we're excited about that. I'm not sure the air date on this, but that is going to be the next big thing. And then the St. Patrick's Day parade is on March the 16th. There'll be the Shamrock Run in the morning, our parade, and then the pub crawl that night. We have Women's Day, which is the second Saturday in April, and that's a way to highlight and celebrate our women-owned businesses. And then Arts Fest will be the first weekend in May 4th and 5th on historic Walnut Street.
That's a great time, by the way. That's a great time.
We had a record number of artists apply, 195, and so that really bodes well that we're going to be able to jury that group and have a high quality of artists, improving on that. We're excited. We had a really good event year in 23, and we're looking to keep that momentum going in the coming year.
Well, you and I never got a chance to finish up what I was really hoping we could have started, which was bringing more music to the square. I hope at some point, Rusty, somebody steps up and steps in and says, you know what, let's see what we can do, at least during the summer months, even if it means to be the fall, because it's a little less scorching hot in the center. It just seems like we've got such great music here, and you can find it in some of the clubs, and you can find it, in some of the outdoor activity areas. But just to have that downtown, I think would just be terrific. I don't know if you've ever been to Austin for South by Southwest, and we're not Austin, Texas, by any stretch. But you know what? Even something smaller than that could be huge, I would think.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for music, and that's something that we've talked about with the Route 66 Festival. How can we expand the musical offerings there and get more genres that everybody can embrace and really have fun? Because we do have great venues, and we have great private businesses around. So I think we could do a lot with expanding and doubling down on music.
Well, I think you see it at Art Fest, right? With the dancing and the jazz band and all the others that play. I mean, it's just such a great opportunity to bring people together, and it's very, I'll say, family friendly, but I think it's date friendly too.
Yeah. One of my favorite events that we have throughout the year is a small one, but our Springfield Jazz Festival. It's on Park Central East. And just having the stage there in the street and having local and regional performers, it really gives you a great vibe. It's a little urban street festival, but it's like folks come in and stumble across that and are thrilled and really enjoy that. And so we want to create more of those opportunities because we have the potential. But yeah, I completely agree with you. There's a lot of areas where live music would greatly enhance our areas.
I want to thank my guest today, Rusty Worley, the Executive Director of Springfield Downtown Association, on Around the Ozarks Spotlight. Also, my producers, Taylor Worley and Jay Stevens, as well as all of you for joining us today. If you happen to miss all or part of today's program, you can always find it in its entirety on the AroundTheOzark.com website, on the Around the Ozark app, also Facebook, Instagram, X, and also the new app we have for ATO, which can be found on Apple apps or Android apps. I'm Scott Meier. Remember, every day is a gift. Enjoy it. Have a great day.